Hey now, Foo Fighter here, the Suburban Shaman, with a few more off the cuff comments. I'm gonna try not to get into Boston and and try and say anything specific about that tragedy and conspiracy and everything. But if I could talk a little bit about the internet and the effects of media, I think that would add more to the conversation than trying to talk about something I really don't know details about. So, first off, I'd seen some frustration from people about how people are casually talking about conspiracies and all this other stuff. The thing they have to realize is that the social media is presenting a social space. So people have a space on the internet to talk. I mean, just like talking around a water cooler. So for me, when the tragedy happened, I talked on Facebook. I liked things that other people said, so we sort of got out our heartfelt emotions in a smaller social circle on Facebook. When I talked about conspiracies and stuff, it was at other sites where they were more open to entertaining this kind of stuff. I don't talk about that stuff at all with friends and family, honestly. So, and I'm sure other people had done that too. So, specifically the Secret Sun, I know Chris Knowles was a little upset about the way people approach things. It maybe seemed callous or really cavalier about this human tragedy. But that is sort of like a water cooler where, I'll say weird people or people that entertain this kind of stuff hang out. So yeah, the emotion and the personal stuff for at least for me was worked out elsewhere. Um, but so the social media is something to talk about with Boston. Ted Torbich had something up where he rightly was suspicious of photos and stuff, and my comment was that uh, you know 10 years ago I think I would have been more leery about photos, but there's just everything is so simultaneous now. There's so many people looking at things. Somebody could post a photo in a matter of minutes. Somebody might have some information that that photo is bullshit. And there's just so much going on. The preponderance of people looking and thinking and checking into stuff is like this force of nature. So if there's a guy with an actor or some such with faking two amputated legs, I'd be surprised. The other thing about Boston was I had just got to work, had logged into Twitter and saw people were talking about a bombing, so naturally went to some of the news sites, and it wasn't reported at all. It was that new. And by the time I'd come back to Twitter from some of the news sites, somebody had a live feed up already. It's just unbelievable what goes on. So I think the ability of what what might have happened in the past, but a heavy-handed, manipulated government conspiracy, and people should talk more about how they throw around conspiracy. Most of the time, I mean, conspiracies happen all the time. This crime was a conspiracy, at least between the two brothers, if not more. But what people are often talking about is a conspiracy that involved government agents, government forces, people aligned with the government somehow to affect some kind of outcome that was to their benefit. All right, so that's the best I'll state it right now because it is just being thrown around a lot. I was kind of upset with one of the radio hosts that I like a lot, Randy Rhodes. She had this big tirade earlier in the week about how these crazy conspiracy theorists and all this stuff. Well, she had been in a big a lawsuit with, I think it was KBR, for exposing some things they were up to. Basically, she had uncovered a conspiracy and talked about it. KBR tried to shut her down, at least that's the best I recall. But, that was a conspiracy. But she's saying that if somebody implies that the government stages or facilitates public displays that terrorize or affect people, if somebody suggests the government might have a hand in that, that's absolutely crazy. She's just wrong, and it kind of irritated me. So that's why I wanted to comment a little bit about conspiracies. So anyway, so more on media and the effects of conspiracies. So I mentioned in the previous video, we've all made ourselves dupes because we remember the days of print media, and when we all had a literate bias. We all had this idea that the truth is out there. Somebody can find it out. They'll write it down in a book or a newspaper article at a prominent newspaper. Well, we found over the years that just isn't the case. And what helps make that not the case is that we live in a security state. The intel agencies have had a lot of power, increasing power over the years, and they know that as a society we have this predilection to have a literate bias. Like, if only we could find the expert to tell us the truth, and they use that to muddy the waters. So what I'm getting at is, often the best we can do is just stay calm and just keep coming closer and closer to the truth. I think people are finding some things out about Boston. It may turn out that it is just two knuckleheads. It may turn out that there was some involvement. As I said in a previous audio, even if it's two knuckleheads, I think the intel apparatus is just so good at monitoring people and being on top of things that if they do nothing else, I think a lot of times they at least know something's up, and maybe use that to, tip off friends and do stuff on the stock market. I don't know. But further about the media effects. So the printed word, we still look to it, but it's not the bastion of truth it used to be. The newspapers have been dramatically diminished. They're not the edifices of record that they used to be. There's no Walter Cronkite, and nobody watches the same news or reads the same newspaper, etc. You certainly have a number of news outlets that'll say the same things, a number of papers they'll say the same things, but then you'll have a tremendous amount of audience members that are getting information from the internet and all kinds of places. So it's a fragmented situation, and you don't have a media high ground in which to push a coherent narrative. I'm not saying they don't regularly and vociferously try and skew events and facts and stuff. They certainly do. Sometimes to good effect and sometimes not. The thing to realize is that some of our responses, and especially this big wave of conspiracy response, is coming from the fact that the internet uncovered all this stuff and clued people in that there is a lot of stuff that's hidden. And now we flipped from the literate response, where we said, hey, if it's not in a book, it doesn't exist, there are no conspiracy theories. Now we flipped into this other overreaction where, hey, it's always a conspiracy theory, there's always something at work, and what we really have to do is just navigate the middle. I don't want to keep lecturing people here. Hopefully these comments are worth something. They're unscripted, they're off the cuff, and I hope I'm doing better at making them. Alright, thanks a lot. Bye.